If you value freedom, if freedom is important to you, but it consistently feels like it's evading you, you are probably seeking it in the wrong places. It is a source of so much miscommunication in Instagram and Hinge bios worldwide. The image of the facade of freedom paired with a complete lack of that very thing. Like the wind right now is blowing super hard against this shack of an Airbnb that I rented in central southern Chile, and a hot February day. February is peak summer in the southern hemisphere, always trips me up. But the UV is like 13, the people are out, people are surfing. It's a great time. It's my favorite temperature. It's hot sun balanced by a strong, brisk ocean or mountain breeze. It reminds me of a time I was standing on a small mountain hill. It was a mountain surrounding Crater Lake in Oregon. I think it's called Mount Scott, if I remember correctly. There was this red-tailed hawk sitting quietly above me on a thermal, just still, about 45 feet in the air. It was a perfect blue hue reflecting off of the lake. If you've ever been to Crater Lake, you know that the color blue that exists there only exists in nature in a few places, I think. And in that moment, I was free, just like I feel free right here while I record this, as I start to close out on a fairly quiet day. It was a day where I woke up, worked with myself, in my journal before tending the day. I went for a run. I talked with a cute girl in horribly broken Spanish. And then I worked until about 6:30 p.m. where I'm about to go surf a perfect 6 to 8 foot left-hand point break with, honestly, probably more than 10 mile per hour cross or offshore winds blowing from the south. Like, I have a shiver running down my spine as I say that out loud. It was a good day. It feels good. It feels free. But that isn't the source of why I feel free. It's not the source of my freedom. And if I were to conflate that example with freedom, if I was to conflate that with freedom, I would be lost, because the source of my freedom doesn't come from my location. It's not found in the sun beaming down a spicy UV of 13, nor is it carried to me on the wind. My freedom, as I have it right now, is created through alignment with my core values. And that may sound ridiculous at first glance, but I'll tell you what, I have had plenty of days in beautiful places filled with dread and anxiety, where I was technically in the right place or with the right people or on the right track, but I knew deep down that I was misaligned. I knew that my actions in the world weren't demonstrating the man that I personally want to be. I was doom scrolling my phone too much. I watched pornography consistently. I drank enough that I seemed to always have an extra 10 pounds of fat on my body. And yet I was in a good job, in a good place. I was on a good track, all that. And it's funny saying that out loud because I had so much quote unquote going for me in that moment. I was doing well. I had a good income. I had good friends, the ability to travel, doing cool work as a scientist and engineer, etc. But what evaded me? Freedom. And how could that be so? How could I have so much and not have freedom? And that's because freedom isn't found on the surface. It can be observed on the surface, which is interesting because you have to watch out for that. The surface level image can be manipulated quite easily. And you already know this from social media and constantly shoving down your throat of influencers living with their fake images of freedom. Even transparently, the setup I have in this room shows some semblance of freedom just through image, but it's not done with a big flashy grin and a Rolex. So no, even if the surface level can be mistaken for freedom, it isn't found in those superficial smiles you find online. And that's why I was missing the feeling in my life. I didn't have a big flashy life at the time when I was talking about in this example, but I was succeeding on the surface. So I was confused why the feeling of freedom still evaded me. And it is the reason why being here on my own in Pichilemu, Chile, isn't a flex, nor is it why I feel free. It's merely a consequence of alignment. And I keep using that word, so what do I mean? I mean that my freedom is born from the fact that each day for many days, many weeks, and many months at this point, many years, I have woken up and did my best to act in a way that makes me genuinely proud of myself. I don't have Ferraris and Rolexes. That said, I think a Land Rover Defender is in my future. But I have space in my life to pursue my dreams and my mission. I don't have a yacht in the Bahamas, but I have the capacity to release myself from the shame of my mistakes, big and small, to not attack myself and to consistently grow and act in a way that I want to every single day. For example, there's a person right now that I need to own up to a medium-sized mistake that I made. Basically, I allocated time that I didn't know I didn't have. And I will look them in the eyes and I will correct my error immediately, regardless of the consequence. Like, integrity gives me freedom. I don't have the capacity to dine in Michelin star restaurants each night, nor to be honest, I'm not sure if I wanted to, but I genuinely love myself. Like, that's where I found freedom. I found it in integrity, my ability to tell the truth and own up to my mistakes. I found it in simplicity, my ability to reduce, if not eliminate almost entirely, the noise of social media from my life. I found it in my health, my ability to consistently build my body into one that climbs mountains and promote waves each year as I get older, getting stronger and more flexible and not weaker and more stiff. I found it in self-reliance and responsibility, my ability to relentlessly pursue my mission to support 1 billion people to take one value-based decision or action every single day, disregarding the anxiety and risk associated with such a pursuit, which, believe me, there is plenty, and I could go on. My point is I found freedom in alignment with my values. In my book, Seeking Authenticity, I defined authenticity as, paraphrased, authenticity is the consolidation of all that I believe to be important embodied in my actions every day. And this is the truth that I have found on my journey so far, that freedom and authenticity are inexorably linked, right? They are one in the same so far as the human experience is concerned. To be authentic is to be free. To be inauthentic is to be enslaved, effectively, not to another, but to the noise of the world and of your mind and ego and insecurities. To tell the truth consistently, and I mean consistently, not the bullshit sin of omission version plaguing society right now, is to be free. To put your phone or your laptop down and to be present with your loved ones or your work is to be free. To eat that which your body actually wants and to move and exercise and be flexible is to be free. To act in alignment with your values is to be authentic and therefore is to be free. It is freedom. It is the reason why you find freedom amongst every stretch of humanity, from the most impoverished to the most rich. Just as you find so many souls captive to their mind and the world in both of those spectrums, from the impoverished to the rich. Your freedom isn't waiting for you to buy a ticket to Hawaii, no matter how rad Hawaii is. It's waiting for you to begin to act consistently in alignment with your values, in a way that brings you peace and clarity and pride. That is where freedom is found.